Hi, welcome to The Crossing, where cycle commuting and gravel riding meet. I'm Jackal Crossing, and in this YouTube series, I'm going to share with you my cycle commute and my gravel rides and how the two work together to make me a stronger, safer, faster rider. So grab your bike and let's go for a ride. This is the Border Wars pre-ride for Border Wars 2023. We started out leaving the R&R one stop. This is approaching our first left turn, and then on to a nice rolling downhill, uphill climb. So this was a really sweet downhill that we got on. Hit a nice new speed record for my bike for me, 37.9 miles an hour going down this downhill. That's moving on a bicycle, folks, let me tell you. If you're not used to those kind of speeds on a bike, it can be a bit eye-watering. Yeah, really appreciate one of the riders lending me a pair of sunglasses for the day because I left mine at home. So thanks, Tracy, if you're watching this. I really appreciate that. It helped me be able to see where I was going today. So thanks so much. This ride ended up being right at 31 miles, just a tad over. This was a pre-ride for the 45-mile course. You'll get to see a lot of what we got to do on this ride. Border Wars is unique in that it is half on the Georgia line, half on the Alabama line. Right here, we are crossing the state line and into Alabama. It's a cool little downhill to our first kind of creek crossing. It was a lot of fun. You'll see what happens when we get to the bottom here. As you can see, there's a big road closed sign and a gigantic pile of dirt. What we didn't realize when we started this is that the bridge here had washed out. So we spent the next few minutes doing a hike and bike across this crossing, and it was fun, I guess. It was an experience, that's for sure, helping 12 riders get across this. It was a pretty steep embankment down. It's red clay, loose red clay. You see Ben makes it across there pretty quickly and hops back down. I'm in the ditch here and then back up and out. Setting my bike down, then I'm going to go help other riders get across this. As the last of the bikes get across, we start the climb up out of the creek crossing, and boy, what a climb it was. Pretty steep in sections, slipping and sliding a little bit. You can see we're all just kind of chug-a-lugging up this hill. It's a lot of fun, though. I really enjoyed this route. I'm looking forward to the race, the actual race on February 25th. You see, having a serpentine back and forth just a little bit here to get up the hill, but I made it. I made it. I think this one was like 12% at its steepest, 12 or 13. Once we conquered that climb, it's on to the rest of the ride. Proved to be really, really great gravel from this point on. Lots of different technical elements. You see we had some pretty good hard pack in here. We had some nice red clay. We had a little bit of loose stuff. But most of all, it was just really, really nice gravel to ride. The day ended up being really nice. Started out kind of cold. We had a wind chill of 25 when we started the ride. You can see I'm layered up here, 2 pairs of gloves, my windbreaker, base layer, my jersey. Helped keep me warm, that's for sure. But as the day goes on, you'll see I lose layer after layer after layer. All right, back onto some pavement for a stretch here, and then we make another turn onto the gravel. We didn't see a lot of cars, nor did we see a lot of dogs on this route. which is a good thing. Dogs out here in the rural areas can sometimes be aggressive, but today we didn't have any aggressive dogs coming after us, so that was kind of nice. Just a leisurely ride through the countryside, and the views were magnificent. Wow, just rolling hills and just beautiful views all around. All right, enough of the pavement. Let's get back onto the gravel for which we came out here to ride. Classic red barn, and then onto the rocks. Boom, right down in there. It had rained recently, so some of this red clay gets a little slippery. You can see I'm digging in for a snack there. Here we go on some of that slick red clay, downhill in it. Yeah, it's a little bumpy. This looks like a logging truck had come through here recently, or a large dump truck. Rutted it up. You can see the lead pack of our group is up ahead of me. There's about 4 or 5 really strong riders in our group. They weren't intentionally dropping us, but the other 8 of us were more evenly matched as far as skill goes and endurance. Here's another one of those really rough sections in the downhill. Kind of technical because you really have to pick your line and know what's coming. You have to be able to see. Now, I wear prescription lenses. The person who lent me their sunglasses, they're not my prescription. They weren't prescription at all. So what you're seeing is not how I saw it. Everything that I saw was just kind of a blur as it came to me. These old wooden bridges, they're so cool. This is one of the better ones that I've gone across. A lot of them have big gaps between the boards. Here's another one of those bridges. I think there were 3 of those bridges. Up this climb was pretty steep. It got up in the 13-14% range. It's not really long, but it's super steep, and as you can see, the ground was wet. The clay's kind of slick, and I'm already doing pretty much everything I can, trying to pick the best line through here, following the folks ahead of me, hoping that they're gonna call out or point out any hazards or obstructions or ruts that I need to be aware of. See that huge rut on the right there, and the left. Kind of got to just pick the center line and go up this hill. I start climbing, and I started to lose some traction right here. And oh, you can see off into the ditch I went. Had to dismount, pull my bike out, get back on the track, and start rolling once again. No shame in that. No shame at all. Luckily, I wear my cleats kind of loose, so I was able to unclip pretty quick and didn't take a tumble there. But you can see we're going over clay that's on top of granite. So these little granite outcrops almost are hitting around in here, and those can be super slick. You can see I'm pushing up my sleeves. The sun's beating down on us. Finally, we're warming up. You can see the little outcroppings of granite right there that I was talking about, right? They're just these little shelves that stick out. They're layered, they're weathered, but all this clay on top of them. You make that change from clay to granite, your tires are wet and muddy, and it's just, sometimes you just don't have the traction. Luckily, I was able to pick some good lines on this climb. It's a long one. Finally, we reached the summit here. One that I wasn't sure was ever going to happen, but we make it. And the payoff. Downhill in it, you know, this is the reward for all that climbing, is you get to go back downhill. And then you have to go right back uphill. All right, once we got through the mud and the muck, now we're back into some nice hard-packed dirt. This is one of my more favorite sections. It had some rock in it, but it wasn't super chunky. You can see it kind of spread out there. Still a really nice hard-packed red clay and sand. So a lot of, but this is all packed sand, so it wasn't getting clumped up like at the bird dog race I did last year, where all the sand got clumped up inside my front caliper and just ate my brakes out the entire race. Here we are, back to climbing some of that granite shelf. Yep, you can see how long this climb is. And again, done with the climb, back into the red clay. It ended up being a very nice day. I think we ended the ride somewhere in the mid to upper 50s Fahrenheit, and it was just really pretty. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. The sun was on us. I was grateful for that. Even right here, it was chilly. The wind was blowing pretty good, and it was chilly. But hey, we're working on those climbs and increasing that body temperature, so. All right, as we make this turn coming up here, this takes to what I nicknamed top of the world on the ride, because the view from the top up here is just absolutely beautiful. If I could, I would just ride this every day and look at it, but it's not feasible for me to do that. Also, I don't think it would be as rewarding. Check out this view as we come in here between this church and the cemetery. Everybody's like pulling off. We're gonna stop here for a few minutes, but you can just see for miles from up there. It was really great. All right, we're back into some of the nice little crush and run gravel now after that little pit stop. We're all packed up here because we had a report that there were some dogs in this section. We didn't see them this day, but we were all kind of packed up here just in case the dogs came out. We would be a little bit better to defend ourselves and then be able to ride on. In this section, I'm behind this person here and had some gravel fly up and get in my mouth, actually. You can see I just spit it out right there. It was a little small piece of gravel, flew up, got right in on my lip, and that was not fun. Not fun at all. All in all, we didn't have a lot of mud. There were a couple of water crossings and big puddles like that. Most of them were avoidable. There are 2 creeks on one of the roads that we did have to cross. They weren't very deep and they weren't very rocky. It was just a matter of send it right through the water, maybe 10 feet wide and 3 or 4 inches deep, just covering the road a little bit. So it wasn't too bad. All right, here we're approaching our last turn before the finish. And Ben takes point here. I get right up on his wheel. We've got a nice little pace line together. And I was going to go around him right here and start to pull, but then someone from behind said car back. And Ben looks back, sees that we're all on a pace line, and starts going. So I just let him pull. But every time that I went to go around him to help pull, there was a car coming. You see, we just hit the city limits. We're about a mile, maybe not even a mile, probably, to the finish here. See, Ben's really getting into it. We start a little slow downhill, and here I go again. I'm gonna kind of lean out here in just a second. And there goes the car. I was just about to go around him right there. Here we go again. I'm leaning out. I hear car back. I really wanted to get up front and pull this pace line for this last little stretch, but I just never had a good opportunity to do it. And Ben and I kind of joked about it afterwards, because he was like, I kept wanting you to come around me and pull, and I couldn't. Right here, I can see our finish right up here on the left, and I lean out to go ahead and start my attack on Ben. And what do I hear? Car back. As soon as that car goes, though, I take off, and you know, gotta attack to the finish, right? You gotta attack to the finish. In we go, and that's a wrap. All right, everybody, that was the 2023 Border Wars pre-ride for the 45-mile course. We did 31 miles of the 45-mile course, finished it up in about 2.5 hours. We weren't really pushing or trying for time. We just wanted to see what the route had in store for us. 13 riders, only one mechanical, and no major dog incidents or vehicle incidents, so that's pretty amazing. We also had just the most amazing time out there with everybody. Thanks so much to Jason from Cyclopaths for putting this together. Really appreciate your leadership on this ride and making sure that everyone made it back to the finish line, and we just had a great time. Thanks so much for letting us be a part of it. Thanks to Ben for letting us use your property. Thanks to R&R One Stop for letting us use your parking lot for this pre-ride, and for the amazing burgers and fries afterwards. That was much needed little lunch that we had afterwards. And also to Wayne. Thanks so much, Wayne, for all the work you do putting together Border Wars and the other events here in the Atlanta area. You're a local legend. We really appreciate you. We couldn't do these things without you. Last but not least, I have to say thanks to Picky Bars for supplying me with the bars and the recovery drink mix to get this done. If you're not a picky eater, be a picky eater. Go to pickybars.com and sign up for a Picky Club subscription today. Get all of the cool, fun stuff that they have to eat, from bars to drizzle to recovery drink mixes. You'll enjoy it, I promise you. They have tons of different flavors of things. Get out there, get you some Picky Bars. Until next time, folks, be safe, have fun. I'll see you on the streets.